Okay, so you're thinking about making the move to Florida, but you haven't really decided on where you want to land just yet. You've looked at the chaos of Miami, maybe Orlando or a Tampa, and you haven't found the place that feels right. In today's video, what I'm going to do is take a look at St. Augustine versus the rest of Florida and give you 10 reasons why St. Augustine is going to win out all day long. What's up, everyone? It's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, Florida. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in the entire state of Florida or here locally in northeastern Florida, make sure you reach out to me and my team. All we try to do is give you the information so that you can make an educated decision what you want to do, which is buy, sell, or invest here in Florida. So what we want to do today is take a look at St. Augustine versus the rest of Florida. And more than likely, you've done your research on other major metropolitan areas within Florida. And St. Augustine is not that. We're pretty close to one, but we're definitely not a major metropolitan area. And I think St. Augustine as a whole is actually one of the best suburbs that you can look at in Florida. And we're going to cover 10 reasons why that is. We're going to cover things like the cost of living here. We're also going to talk about the insurance. We're going to talk about schools. We're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about everything under the sun that comes down to living in Florida and why St. Augustine is the best bet across all of Florida. The first thing we're going to talk about is you're going to get more house for your money here in northeastern Florida and in St. Augustine than you're pretty much going to see throughout the entire state. And that's going to come down to a variety of factors. Of course, the price of the home, the square footage of the home. But when you're looking at like the cost to just carry the home, like insurance and property taxes, we're still going to win out more here in northeastern Florida than what you're going to find in South Florida, just based on insurance alone. So what I did is just pulled up a comparable area. When I have people reach out to me about moving to St. Augustine, it's like they're either torn between here and Sarasota. So what I'm just going to use is just use Sarasota as a case study, and we'll go back and forth between the two. So let's take a look. So here on Zillow, all I did was outline that we want to look at 200 to 400,000, which is going to be the lower end of the market across the entire state of Florida. In reality, the median sale price is just under $400,000 here in the state of Florida. We have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, which is pretty much what everyone's looking for when it comes down to buying a house. You can see I sorted it by square feet. And we got a 3,000 square foot home, $385,000. And this is about 15 minutes from the beach. I know exactly where this is located. I'll pull this up just so you can see. Right off of US 1, in the St. Augustine shores, you can take 206 to Crescent Beach, and you'll be there in about 12 minutes or so. So what we want to do is take a look at Sarasota and see how they fare. Okay, so we got a $369,000 house with 2,433 square feet, so about 500 square feet less. And I think that is a pretty good example here because this is actually an attached home. You can see that you're only buying one side of it. And the same thing here, you got a $400,000 home for 2,223, 2,222. So you're just seeing a lot smaller homes, and also they don't have as many affordable homes as we do here in northeastern Florida. St. Augustine is actually one of the more expensive areas in northeastern Florida, but if you're looking for affordability, you can still find single family homes between 200 and 300,000. You can find townhomes around that price range as well. And if you wanted to even go mobile home, there is some more affordability options and condos at a lower price point too. But just take a look here. We have 482 results in St. Augustine alone. That's going to be between 200 and 400,000. So not only do we have more price per square foot, you get more bang for your buck than Sarasota, but you also get more options, which as a buyer over these past couple of years, we didn't have options, right? We were looking at a home, we only had 20 homes on the market, and that was it, right? And there were 100 buyers for each of those homes. Today's market is a little bit different, and I think St. Augustine is poised to be more affordable and also a better lifestyle than the majority of Florida and Sarasota. The second reason why St. Augustine rules out over every other place in Florida, and this is a big one, comes down to the schools and the public education that is available within the county here. And St. Augustine is a part of St. Johns County, and St. Johns County, as of right now, is the #2 school district in the entire state of Florida. For the past couple of years, it trades between #1 and #2, so being the best or the second best in the entire state out of 67 school districts. And I think it should be mentioned that St. Johns County is one of 2 school districts since 2004 that has received a letter grade of A every single year when they started these studies. So it just goes to show you that St. Johns County hangs its hat on its top tier education for the kids here, and it doesn't want that to go away. That is one of the driving factors of people moving here to our area, is our great school system. The third thing is coastal living without the crowds. Now, all the other places that I talked about are major metropolitan areas. You're going to find a lot more traffic, a lot more congestion, just a lot more foot traffic around there than you will here in St. Augustine. Now, of course, we are a tourist town, so when it comes down to the main peaks of tourism throughout the year, we're going to be pretty busy, right? When you're looking at the end of the year, we have Nights of Lights, which is a big festival they throw on downtown where they light up the whole downtown. Beautiful, beautiful historic architecture, completely lit up head to toe. It's one of the best light shows in the entire country. That's also one of the most painful times here for locals because of how congested it can be. And of course, we have spring break in summer where it's definitely not as busy as that Night of Lights time, but it's still pretty busy. But outside of that, there's pretty much a lull in between that where the locals get to come out and enjoy the city. Whereas like pretty much anywhere else in Florida, if you're looking at a metropolitan area, looking for a city that has a lot to do, you're also going to find a lot of traffic because other people want that as well. So here, it's more of a small, laid-back coastal town that has a good pop of tourism here and there, but it's also still the community feel. And the fourth thing that's also good and ties into my last point is that we're not a metropolitan area, but we're pretty close to a couple metropolitan areas. So we have Jacksonville just north of us. That's really going to be our feeder market. A lot of people go up to Jacksonville for work. To go to the airport, it's only about 45 minutes from the majority of St. Augustine, sometimes an hour depending on the traffic if you're leaving at rush hour. But in general, it's pretty easy to get up there, go to downtown Jacksonville, work, and come back. And hey, if you've considered Jacksonville, it's another great place to live here in northeastern Florida with even more affordability than what we find here in St. Augustine. And what I did is I put a video together above here. You can check it out. It's just really comparing Jacksonville versus St. Augustine. I've lived in both. Personally, I like St. Augustine a little bit better. It's more my speed, more my vibe. But Jacksonville has a ton of places to offer, and me and my wife actually considered moving to Avondale, which is like the cutest little neighborhood up in Jacksonville, but I just didn't want to drive back and forth 50 minutes to an hour every single day to my main market here in St. Augustine. So if you are interested in Jacksonville, the link is above. You can check that video out as well. So if you need access to an international airport, Jacksonville International Airport's a great little airport, and they actually are currently expanding, but you do also have the Orlando Airport as well, where of course they're flying all over the country. And then you also have the Daytona International Airport. Daytona and Jacksonville are going to be about an hour away at max, and then you're going to have the Orlando Airport. It's going to be about 2 hours away. But aside from travel, we also have the ability to go to these places and enjoy them. A lot of people that live in the state of Florida vacation within the state of Florida. I mean, we have Universal and Disney in Orlando. We have NASA in the Space Coast down just a couple hours in Cocoa Beach. We also have the Florida Keys. We have the Florida Everglades. We also have Fernandina Beach. We have Tampa. We have Destin, Florida. We have a whole bunch of different areas within the state of Florida that people go on vacation to. If you are looking for mountains, a lot of people will go north. They'll go to the Tennessee. Being here in northeastern Florida, another great thing is that we're at the border of Georgia. So we don't have to drive through the entire state to go north to visit our friends and family. We can, drive through an hour of the state and at least hit Georgia, and then you pretty much have a long drive throughout then if you're going up north. The fifth reason to choose St. Augustine goes along with that slower pace of life. It is a complete lifestyle change living here. And if you're used to the hustle and bustle of maybe in Atlanta or New York or in LA or one of those major metropolitan areas, St. Augustine is not like that. And of course, it can take some getting used to. I'm from New York myself, moved from Brooklyn, and tell you what, when you go from the hustle and bustle of the city to here, I was at Publix and I was talking, I was just going through the checkout, just scanning my stuff, and they wanted to talk to me like crazy. Like they kept, oh, what are you up to the rest of the day? How's your day going? All this stuff. I'm like, stop. Like, what do you, stop it? I need to get my stuff and go. Leave me alone. But they're just being friendly. A lot of people have that southern charm down here. They're good at talking, and they're just being friendly. It's just the culture down here. But aside from that, you also, of course, have the beach. So if you want to take some sunset or sunrise strolls on the beach with a cup of coffee, if you want to go to downtown and look at the historic architecture, if you want to go golfing or kayaking, it's a completely different lifestyle than what you're going to find in most of the metropolitan areas throughout the country. The sixth reason that St. Augustine's going to beat the rest of Florida, and this one's a big one, is insurance and taxes. So when you compare our taxes here versus the rest of Florida, it's not going to make a huge difference. So that's actually a lot more expensive than what we have here. You can find taxes as high as like 1.8, 1.9% of your purchase price, But for the most part, the taxes are going to be around 1.4%. So if you buy a $1 million property, your taxes are going to roughly be around $14,000 a year. You buy a $500,000 property, it's going to be $7,000 a year. If you buy a $100,000 property, your taxes are probably going to be like $1,400 a year. So it's actually a lot more affordable here than many other places in the state of Florida. And guys, if you're getting some value out of this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the little notification bell if you want to get notified through email that I posted a new video, especially if you're interested here in St. Augustine, because I put out a ton of content on northeastern Florida. Then we also want to talk about insurance. Now, insurance has been a big problem. I have plenty of videos on the insurance crisis here in the state of Florida. But northeastern Florida is completely different than the rest of Florida. And that comes down to how many hurricanes land in northeastern Florida, our average wind speed of these hurricanes, and also just our overall inventory of homes being a much younger inventory than a lot of the state of Florida. For the most part, if you're looking to buy a home within northeastern Florida that was built after 2002, your insurance is probably going to be around $150 to $250 a month, depending on the size of your home, elevation, all that kind of stuff. There's a variety of factors that go into it. But on average, the insurance premium for the entire state of Florida is around $4,200 for the year, which is 3 times the national average. Whereas here in northeastern Florida, it's kind of like $1,800 to $2,200 bucks. So we're actually not doing that much worse than the national average. So to be able to own your home and then afford your home for the future is a lot more viable here in northeastern Florida than South Florida. Now, of course, the state of Florida has the homestead exemption, which is also going to add up to more tax savings for you. What it does is if you're going to call your home your primary residence, it caps you at a 3% raise year over year if your taxes are going to get raised. So if the market value of your home and your surrounding area starts to go up, the most that they can raise your taxes is 3% year over year. It also gives you a $50,000 deduction on the taxable value of your home. So saving you maybe a couple $100 every single year just based off of that reduction. The seventh reason that St. Augustine's better than the rest of Florida is going to be the culture and history. St. Augustine was established in 1565 by the Spanish, and it's traded hands between the Spanish, the French, the English, and now the United States. So it has a bit of cultural influence from all of that when it comes down to the roads, the architecture, and just the style of the city. It's a small European city within the state of Florida where that's not really a thing. Because of that, we have beautiful architecture downtown. We have Castillo de San Marcos, which is the fort downtown. We also have the Treasury building. We have Flagler College, which was the Flagler Hotel built, I think, back in the early 1900s. All these buildings are absolutely beautiful. And then we have the Colonial Quarter, where some of those buildings date back to the 1500s, which is pretty amazing. And a lot of them are now shops and restaurants and museums and all that cool stuff. But aside from that, we do also have a ton of festivals throughout the year. So just a couple weeks ago, they had the Lions Festival, which is a seafood festival, funny enough, even though it's called the Lions Festival. They also have the Sing Out Loud Festival, which originally started as a free festival for the month of September, which was kind of a way like after summer to like, hey, let's get the locals back out and playing in town a little bit because they were getting beat up all summer, having to wait on restaurants and stuff like that because all the tourism. Let's get them out for September, give some of these local businesses some more patronage. And a lot of the stuff was free, but now most of it's still free, but they still have a weekend where you can buy tickets to a like actual music festival where it's a 2-day festival. They have one of the headliners this year is Hosier. I'm not sure what the other one is, but it's Biba Doobie. Not familiar with her. I think it's a her. I could be wrong. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what it is? I'm not sure. But she's apparently pretty famous. But they're coming this year. I went a couple years ago with my buddy, and we saw Mumford & Sons, and we saw the Black Keys. It was one of the 2 main headliners there, and it was a ton of fun. That's on top of farmers markets and Friday art walks, and all that kind of stuff is here in St. Augustine. And if you're into the arts, entertainment, music scene, this is a good place for you, especially when it comes down to dining as well. We have some great food here. And the 8th reason that St. Augustine's better than the rest of Florida is going to be the outdoor lifestyle. We actually have some of the most favorable weather across the entire country. It's comparable to San Diego. We're not as good as San Diego, but we still have it pretty good here in northeastern Florida. For the past like 2 months, it's been like 70 and 75 degrees and beautiful and sunny. It's barely rained a drop, which is not the best thing in the world, but pretty amazing for you to just go out and walk around in. But aside from that, you know, we don't get hit with hurricanes as much as the rest of South Florida and the Panhandle. Major hurricanes have only made landfall 4 times in the past 124 years here in St. Johns County, so we're a lot safer in that respect. But also St. Johns County is one of the healthiest counties in the entire state of Florida. People want to be outside. Whether that's going to play golf, you can go check out the Masters at TPC Sawgrass. Or maybe you want to do some bass fishing. They have a bass fishing tournament by Bass Pro out on the St. Johns River closer to Welaka every single year. Or if you want to do some surfing, or if you want to do some kayaking, whatever it is you want to do, there's more than likely something here for you. Quick anecdotal story, I moved from the Northeast. I lived in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I lived here as a kid, but I lived there as an adult as well. And I got into mountain biking and I loved it. And I was like, all right, moving back to Florida. It's pretty flat. Lived here before. Don't expect to do too much of it. But they actually have some amazing mountain biking trails here in northeastern Florida. They have Sorba Jacks, which is in Jacksonville, just north of us. They also have Moses Creek, which is right here in St. Augustine. Then they also have Malacompra and Graham Swamp in Flagler County, which is about 30 minutes, 45 minutes south of us. And then they have Alafia in Orlando, which is like one of the best in the state, I believe. And that's only about 2 hours away. So we still have access to things that you may not think of, like mountain biking. We don't have any skiing or snowboarding. We don't have any, winter sports, but we got pretty much everything else. And the ninth reason that St. Augustine beats out the rest of Florida is because we have a diverse housing inventory. Whether you're looking for an older historic home surrounding the downtown area, or you're looking for a modern master plan community, we have the best of both worlds here. Maybe you want a home on the Intercoastal, or if you want that beach house, we have both of those here. There is a diverse landscape of homes that you can choose from here. And if you're going with the master plan community, all these things are like resort style living. They have a resort style pool. Some of these places have like a restaurant where you can order food and drinks to your table. It's pretty awesome to find that here in northeastern Florida. And it's, you're going to find the master plan communities throughout the rest of Florida, but you're not going to be able to find the historic homes that we have here. And number 10, and our last point on this, is the community that St. Augustine offers. Like I've mentioned before, St. Augustine's a small local town. A lot of times when I go out, I run into someone that I know. And I personally, you may not like that. Not everyone likes that. I actually enjoy that. And I like feeling like I'm a part of the community here. And that's really easy for you to get into. No matter what your hobbies or your interests are, you can find something that you would love to do here in northeastern Florida. I was actually driving around and I was showing a property in this master plan community called Entrada. And I helped one of my clients who moved from Long Island. His name's John. And he was sitting in the dog park in Entrada. He's a hard guy to miss. He's like 6'2". He's a big dude. And I yelled to him, "Hey, John, how you doing, man?" And either way, he's like, "Come by the house when you get done your show, and I want to talk to you. I want to show you what I did to the house." And he's there, and he's got friends that are over visiting and just hanging out with him that he's met within the neighborhood. They're cooking a big meal for the whole family there. And they really got into the community. He's now doing the fireworks show for Entrada in July, which is pretty funny for the 4th of July. And I was just messing with him like, "Oh, you seem like you're getting along here." He's like, "I'm the mayor of this town, man. I love it." So I really enjoy seeing that, especially when it's people I help move to the area. Okay, guys, and that is it. Those are the 10 reasons that St. Augustine is the better city across the entire state of Florida. I'm really a big fan. I'm a little biased, but if you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in northeastern Florida or anywhere else in the state of Florida, make sure you reach out to me and my team directly. All we try to do is give you the information so that you can make an educated decision on what you want to do, which is buy, sell, or invest here in northeastern Florida. Until next time, guys.